knew that it's that perfect blend of dancehall and something where could possibly cross over. So we really wanted to take it serious. And to be honest, it became, the more and more we waited, the harder it got to release, because Tory, since 4 years ago, now he's like the top 15 most streamed artists in the world. So so and before that, he wasn't big, but he wasn't like how he is now,
Yeah.
We have to really, it was very hard to get that song cleared when it was time for it to release. It was
Right,
a big fight, actually. So we have to give respect to Tory's team for battling with us and going through so much different meetings and going back and forth with the label and making sure that record got released, So
hey, big ups, big ups for that. Hey, big ups for the scoop as well. Hey, that was some unbelievable information there. Good, hey. Yes, class. I bet you that was some experience up in the penthouse, and that was unreal.
Trust me, it's one of the first times working with such a caliber of artists, and you could. Tory Lanez is a very talented youth, man.
I mean, so going a little bit further, then, what about your music that you've got today? The things that you've been releasing, because that's, you're still bringing us. It's, you're getting better. You're getting better with it, isn't it?
I hope so,
I don't want to not to be gassing you up, bro, and things like that. But like, you can hear it. The like Serious Times, and then the change with 32 bars. Like for me, quite different tracks, obviously, and just big tracks within themselves. For the listeners, do you want to touch a little bit more on them tracks?
Yeah, I think I'm really going through a different space. Myself now, where it's just like I'm really getting good at translating my feelings and my thoughts onto a soundtrack. It's becoming way more fluent for me to like take what I hear and see in my mind and bring it into this world as a tangible thing. Like I remember when I was recording on like Bridging the Gap and the Skyline Levels Volume 1 project, those first 2 EPs were like very experimental for me. Like it wasn't intentional. It was just ideas that I heard in my head, and it didn't come out exactly how I wanted it to come out, but it still came out good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't intentional. And then I think working on Bloodline now was the first time I felt like I had a lot more wisdom and a lot more experience in making and creating records, and taking what I actually feel in my heart. And so exactly what you hear on Bloodline album is exactly how I imagined it.
Yes,
it was very intentional.
And that's as an artist, that is quite hard to come by sometimes, isn't it? Because you are your biggest critic. No matter what you do, you're always the biggest critic. So that must give some mind clarity as well, because when it comes to your music being on point, and the reviews that it gets.
Definitely, and Serious Times is just I feel like reggae music is oral history. It tell you your past, it tell you the present, and it guide you into the future.
Yes.
And I feel like as reggae ambassadors of our culture, that, we did need something in the space where talk about what's going on right now, and I feel like mental awareness is something that we look over, and we don't take as seriously. And I think this pandemic, the real pandemic is mental health, because
yes.
I think the most damaging thing, even more than the actual pandemic itself, was people's mental spaces. A lot of people were, like the suicide rates in various different countries spiked.
Yeah, all over the world.
Getting higher because it was a very stressful time for people to be locked up in their house, not being able to be a human being. You know what I mean? And taking away our constitutional rights as a human race, literally. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get into
No, but what you're saying is 100% right.
I'm not going to get into whether you should take a vaccine or you not take a vaccine, or whether you should be locked up or whether you should not be, because who am I? I'm just a musician. I'm not qualified to tell you what is right for you. But at the end of the day, what I am 100% sure is pro-choice and not to be discriminated against making a choice. That means if you don't want to put a needle in your skin, like, you shouldn't be getting fired from work, because that is inhumane, actually. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of that type of things happening over here in the UK, so that resonates over here. I mean,
so there's a lot of crazy things right now. So, I think that's how serious times it was. It wasn't something that was really thought about that much. It was just something singing straight from heart to the microphone, and we recorded that actually while on tour last year.
Yeah.
Late last year, we recorded that with the band. The band, we were performing that song every night, and then we just decided to, and it was an unreleased record at the time, and then we just decided to cut it on tape. Actually, that's cut on tape, real tape, you know what I mean? So, like,
so
with the real organs, the whole thing. That was actually the first song that I ever recorded, start to finish, without any cuttings or anything, just fully live with the band,
So, so where was that recorded then when you were touring?
Yeah, we recorded that in Texas.
Texas,
Nashville. Austin.
Yeah. Nashville.
Austin, we in
Austin,
this very
Texas,
holy, in the studio. It's like an ancient studio, like with tape and analog. Everything is just analog, for that. So,
sick.
And then 32 bars now, progressing along. I have a very interesting capsule coming out shortly, after this tour that we've been working on. It's like a small body of work, a capsule that kind of shows a different side from me, a side that I don't really share to the world as much, to be honest, it's really the story of self-reliance, independence. Like, I've, not saying that I'm against contracts or anything, but still, I feel like financial literacy is not really spoken about in our genre, when you listen to like rap artists and hip-hop artists, they give you a lot of gems towards like how to level yourself up financially. You know what I mean? And I wanted to, it's almost like as a Rasta, you're not supposed to talk about money or and them things. It's almost like it's supposed to burn money, but
it does make the world go round.
We have to get more more intelligent than that, because it's not that we love money, but money is a tool. Money is like a hammer. It's like it's like a screwdriver. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
true. That's true. That's very true. You can't buy a hammer or a screwdriver without money. So it is a tool.
So it's like a tool that we have to use, and I feel like our biggest weakness as a people, even as a culture within reggae music, our biggest lacking is finances. So when you listen to those lyrics, you listen to the story of a youth who is independent, putting on his own tours, putting up his own advances and financing his own journey, and figuring out how to do this in the dark, without any help of a label or any resource or any cosign, you know what I mean? And I wanted to share that experience with the world, so that anybody who, one of the lines I say, never sold masters to these slave masters.
Yes.
But we still found ways to make these songs reach the masses.
Reach the masses, yes.
You know what I mean? And we still made more than those label advances.
Yes.
It's not that we have had many offers from labels, big labels too, and not gassing myself up, but just to share this knowledge. We had this, you know what I mean? But it's like, for me to do a deal with a label or anything, it has to be a partnership. It cannot be a ownership. It has to be a partnership. So my vision, and he's saying, well, if we're not going to partner up now, you're sure going to partner up with me later. So it's not that we burnt those bridges or anything, but it just means that we have more work to do to get what we really need, because we're not going to take something that is it doesn't make sense. It has to be a partnership. So,
so that sounds like
sometimes you can't just jump at every opportunity. You have to really be smart, so you can protect yourself in the long
tactical.
run. You know?
Yeah, tactical. Yeah, I like it. I like that. So when will that be dropping then?
Well, 32 Bars is actually the interlude.
Right.
To be honest, and we wanted to drop something where it was totally left field from any other sounds that I've made. Like that's Keznamdi flowing over 808's beat in a kind of rap way, but it's still authentic to the Jamaican root of things.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's funny that we're doing this interview, because I always said that the kind of music that I make naturally, I've always told my team, I feel like would be embraced by UK people more than anybody, because the UK have a very deep understanding, the average person have a very deep understanding of reggae music, naturally, just because of our history. And then also now hip-hop, obviously. Yeah. And then it's just our culture, UK is our culture, so it's sometimes it's...
Of course.
I spend so much time in the US, and I know that, the UK is just a little bit more further, but it's definitely I feel like a place.
Yeah, it's a reach, definitely. 100%. I mean, the UK people would take Keznamdi on board with open arms, 100%. Like, would that be part of your plans then in the future, to come over to the UK and maybe put on some shows for the people and
maybe work with some producers?
Definitely, that has always been funny enough, we were right there. We had like 6 different clubs on hold. Like we put them on hold, and it's like we did it like 2 different times, and then the pandemic kind of just like had me iffing and butting and wondering if we're gonna be doing this, and so it's looking like the pandemic will free up itself a little bit, and the gates are opening up slowly but surely. So I definitely think, because it's not so easy doing the show that I bring, because, we're bringing like 10 to 15 people on the road. Yeah. It's like a lot of backline that we have to bring. It's not as easy just book a ticket and just come to England, so it's a lot of coordination, and we have to fit it in with the schedule that we already
that you've already got. But it's something for the future, for future listeners. You might see Keznamdi in the next year or so.
Yeah, hopefully this year. Hopefully this year. Man. But the 32 Bars is really just an interlude, and as you can see, it's just bars. It's not no chorus thing. It's not no pretty thing. It's bars. It's just real, authentic, genuine music.
Yes,
we're needed in our space right now, where you tell the honest God truth where God give. You know what I mean? And be real with yourself, and not trying to paint. I think that there's 2 kind of entertainers or musicians or artists. You have ones that take you out of your reality. So they're going to sing about flossing or sing about money that they don't even have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with that, You know what I mean? Because
it's a fantasy. It still takes people, it still helps people.
So when people who don't have no money, or people in a struggling time, come to a party and they get to live that fantasy for that 1 hour, that's night, healing for their spirit, and you can't discredit that. I used to look at that in a negative way, but I have a new love for that kind of music now, because it is healing. You can't deny that. Like when but then you have another kind of artist who face reality, and give you music, but give you the harsh reality right in front of your face. And I think that naturally I lean more to that side of artistry, you know, and that's why I wanted to show 32 Bars and talk about the struggles that we face, and talk about, I say, one of the lines I say, I remember performing for my first university party. That's when me and university partied.
Yeah.
That's when, like talking about those moments in my journey where I remember that as a big moment where I had to take out either $60,000 US loan to go finish my degree, or go out there in the cold world and figure it out, you know. I remember that decision as a youth, like, should I, you know, like, it was a scary
big decisions to make,
And most of the youths, them make those are the decisions, or even these pandemic millennial baby people in university now, you can imagine.
I can't imagine
they have to make.
big decisions, and